Many people grow old with regret, not because of age, but because of small mistakes they didn't recognize early. In this article, you will discover the hidden habits that silently destroy your health, finances, and happiness in old age. In our next video, we'll explore this together. Neglecting physical health. As people reach their later years, many believe it's time to rest and relax after a lifetime of hard work. However, the truth is that this gentle letting go mindset quietly erodes physical health, the foundation for maintaining quality of life in old age. Not exercising, eating irregularly, ignoring unusual symptoms, or skipping regular checkups all contribute to pushing seniors closer to overall physical and mental decline. Lack of exercise is one of the most common and dangerous mistakes. According to medical studies, seniors who don't stay physically active lose about 1% of their muscle mass each year. This not only weakens the body, but also reduces balance, increasing the risk of falling, the leading cause of serious injuries or death in people over 65. Data from the World Health Organization shows that 1 in 3 seniors falls each year, and most of them never fully recover from that fall. A typical case is Mr. Henry, 74 years old. He used to walk every morning. But just a few months after pausing the routine, thinking, "The older you are, the more you should rest," he began feeling tired, experienced persistent joint pain, and saw a serious decline in stamina. When he returned to his old habits, his body could no longer keep up. Every movement became difficult and required medical assistance. Equally serious is a poor diet. Older adults often eat less, skip breakfast, or reduce portions out of fear of gaining weight or indigestion. But in reality, the aging body needs less energy but more nutrients to maintain organ function, immune health, and bone density. A lack of protein leads to muscle wasting and delayed wound healing. Deficiencies in calcium and vitamin D accelerate osteoporosis. Lack of fiber causes chronic constipation, severely affecting the digestive system and increasing the risk of intestinal diseases, including colon cancer. Studies from Harvard University indicate that seniors who follow a diet rich in vegetables, high-quality protein, whole grains, and fish can reduce their risk of chronic conditions like type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cognitive decline by up to 30%. Another dangerous factor is ignoring early warning signs such as just a little tired, just a little ache, or probably the weather. That's why many seniors are only diagnosed with diseases at a late stage. Conditions like colorectal cancer, hypertension, diabetes, or thyroid disorders can develop silently for years without obvious symptoms. Without regular checkups, treatment becomes harder, medical costs rise, and quality of life worsens dramatically. Statistics from the Mayo Clinic show that more than 40% of elderly cancer patients are diagnosed only when the disease is already beyond curable stages, partly due to skipping regular health screenings. Fortunately, small changes in daily habits can yield big results. Maintaining a routine of 30-minute walks per day improves heart health, lowers blood sugar, enhances lung function, and keeps the body agile. A full breakfast with eggs, oats, and vegetables stimulates metabolism and maintains energy levels throughout the day. Drinking enough water, sleeping well, and reducing screen time before bed all help the body recover and maintain mental clarity. Especially, older adults should get health checkups at least once or twice a year, focusing on blood sugar, cholesterol, blood pressure, osteoporosis, and common cancer markers. Old age can be the most fulfilling time of life if we take care of our bodies properly. Otherwise, neglecting physical health turns the final years into a long battle with illness and pain. Nothing is too late if you start today, with a nutritious meal, a gentle walk, and a scheduled checkup. Withdrawing from friends and family. Not all pain screams out loud. Some wounds come from prolonged silence, when an elderly person ignores an old friend's call, declines a family gathering, or quietly sits alone in a house full of memories. Many think this is a personal choice, but in reality, social withdrawal is a risky behavior with serious effects on one's overall health. Loneliness, a danger often underestimated, has effects as severe as smoking or heart disease. Over the past decade, numerous medical studies have sounded the alarm. Loneliness doesn't just cause sadness, it can be deadly. A report from Brigham Young University, USA, shows that social isolation increases the risk of early death by 50%, equal to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And it's even more dangerous than obesity or alcohol addiction. In 2023, the U.S. Department of Health released a nationwide report on the epidemic of loneliness, confirming that more than half of Americans over 65 feel abandoned by society, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. Many could not recover mentally after the lockdown, and that temporary disconnection has become a lasting condition. The physiological and neurological impacts of isolation. Long-term loneliness not only worsens mood, but also causes physical changes inside the body. Increased cortisol, stress hormone. Levels. This weakens the immune system, causes insomnia, raises blood pressure, and increases stroke risk. Reduced activity in the hippocampus, the brain's center for memory and emotion, accelerating cognitive decline and contributing to Alzheimer's disease. Decreased appetite, thirst, and motivation to move, leading lonely individuals to eat less, move less, resulting in muscle loss, weight loss, and depression. The case of Ms. Dorothy, when connection is the most effective medicine. Ms. Dorothy, 76 years old, was once an energetic teacher, but after her husband passed and her children moved far away, she began to withdraw socially. She declined invitations to art classes, cut ties with her classical music group, and lived reclusively in a small apartment for years. As a result, she stopped sleeping well, lost her appetite, had frequent headaches, and became confused by memory lapses. A geriatric doctor warned her, "Your body isn't sick, but your mind is craving connection." Things changed when her granddaughter helped her install Zoom and Facebook. From then on, she reconnected with old friends, joined an online book club, and video chatted with her family weekly. Within a few months, her health clearly improved, her mind became sharper, and most importantly, her smile returned. Don't rely only on family. Connection must be broader. A common mistake is thinking family is enough. In reality, children and grandchildren today are often too busy with work or school. Even living in the same house, they may have little time to sit and listen to older relatives. That's why expanding one's social network is key. In many developed countries like Japan, South Korea, and Sweden, programs that help the elderly build a second social circle have proven highly effective. Activities like joining local clubs, singing, gardening, light yoga, volunteering at churches, libraries, or health stations, attending community gatherings, connecting online via social media or video apps, Zoom, Line, Zalo. all help older adults feel they are still living a meaningful life with a voice and someone who listens. In Germany, a model called Connection Cafe is held weekly, specifically for people over 60. They come to talk, share, cook together, or learn new skills. This model has expanded to many major cities because of its clear effects in reducing depression and extending lifespan. In old age, connection is no longer a luxury. It determines whether life is rich in meaning or simply a countdown. Science shows that every positive relationship provides psychological support, reduces stress levels, improves recovery after illness, and increases life expectancy by 5 to 10 years. A weekly phone call, a tea session with a neighbor, or a short chat with an old friend can work wonders. The presence of another person, even just through a screen, is enough to brighten an elder's day during their loneliest times. I think when I grow old, I won't choose to live quietly. I'll call my friends every week, join a painting class even if my hands aren't steady, and keep smiling when I chat with my neighbors. Because I believe that connection won't just help me live longer, it will make every day worth living. Refusing to adapt to change. People are always changing. The world keeps moving. But the older we get, the more likely we are to cling to the past because of long-standing habits, fear of failure, or feeling a loss of control in a world that's speeding forward. Many seniors believe they've lived long enough and don't need to learn anything new. They stop, withdraw, and gradually fall behind. Refusing to adapt is not just a personal choice. It becomes a barrier that prevents older adults from accessing modern conveniences, staying socially connected, and maintaining independence in today's world. Technology, the bridge that's breaking. As life becomes increasingly digital, every area, from banking, healthcare, communication, to shopping and entertainment, is tied to phones, computers, QR codes, and online accounts. But for many elderly people, this is a strange world filled with passwords and odd icons. Mr. Albert, 78 years old, once held a respected position and had years of experience, but he stubbornly refused to learn how to use a smartphone. When his grandchildren studied abroad, he couldn't video call them. When the bank required him to log in online to check his retirement account, he had to ask others for help. He couldn't book a doctor's appointment through an app, didn't know how to scan QR codes at the grocery store, and wouldn't dare to use a digital wallet. Every time he went out, he felt like he was lost in a world that no longer had space for him. According to Pew Research 2022, only 40% of Americans over 75 use smartphones, and fewer than 30% feel confident using basic apps. But the key finding is that 90% of them admitted they would feel more at ease and connected if they learned. It's not just about technology. It's about adjusting to a world that's evolving every day. Refusal to adapt also shows up in other areas, rejecting young people's lifestyles, not accepting cultural diversity, refusing modern diets or new medical treatments. Some people cling so tightly to traditional values that they see anything different as wrong, isolating themselves from conversations, family meals, or even clashing with their own children. In South Korea, a sociology study found that seniors who attended soft skills classes or openly conversed with younger generations reported twice the life satisfaction compared to the ultra-conservative group. Mental flexibility not only keeps the mind youthful, but also creates mutual respect and understanding across generations. When you resist change, you don't just miss out on convenience, you lose independence. Seniors often fear being replaced, but failing to adapt makes them more dependent. Not knowing how to use a phone, depending on children to call a ride, pay bills, or book appointments, not booking online, longer wait times, feeling passive and overlooked, not understanding how modern systems work, feeling disconnected, voiceless. Slowly, they lose the very autonomy they spent a lifetime building. In Sweden, where nearly all public services are digital, the government launched a program called Digital Elders, seniors who volunteer to learn technology and then teach their peers. After 1 year, digital service use among seniors rose 63%, daily independence increased 48%, and depression rates fell by 37%. Change doesn't mean abandoning yourself. It means expanding your way of life. No one expects seniors to become tech experts, but knowing how to use basic tools helps them stay in touch with family, be proactive in daily life, and most importantly, still feel part of the world. Learning a new skill, even something small like using Zalo, checking Google Maps, or writing an email, is a way to affirm, I'm still living, exploring, and not done yet. Change is never easy, especially when it comes after decades of habit. But difficult doesn't mean impossible. Even slow change, if driven by openness and self-respect, is a brave step, not to chase trends, but to avoid being left behind. I think when I'm old, I won't be afraid of change. I'll learn to use new tools, not to keep up with others, but to understand the world my grandchildren live in. I'll keep learning new things because every lesson I take in is a way to extend my presence, preserve my dignity, and prove that old age isn't the end. It's a doorway to a new, wiser chapter of life. Poor financial management. Many people enter retirement thinking, now is the time to live for myself, no more worries. They spend freely, enjoying life with a carefree mindset. But then one day, when medical costs spike, pensions fall short, or unexpected accidents happen, they realize old age isn't the end of financial planning. It's the most sensitive stage if there's no clear plan. Retirement doesn't mean stopping financial calculations. It's the time for greater wisdom. A study by the International Retirement Institute, IRI, revealed that 70% of American seniors have made serious financial mistakes post-retirement, mostly from underestimating healthcare costs, overspending on travel, giving too much to grandchildren, or lacking emergency savings. The consequences often come quickly, especially for those without fixed pensions or safe investments. Mr. Richard, 72 years old, is a regrettable example. After retiring with a decent savings fund, he began to live generously, traveling often, giving money to grandkids, and spending freely to treat himself. But within just 5 years, his funds ran dry. After a fall that required long-term care, he had no supplemental health insurance and had to rely on his children to pay for treatment and living costs. He used to believe, spend what you have. But in the end, he lost the financial independence he was once so proud of. Financial risks don't only come from spending, but also from complacency and lack of caution. Besides their habit of spending freely, older adults are more vulnerable to modern scams. Fake police calls, emails promising high-return investments, or requests for help from relatives abroad are becoming increasingly sophisticated. According to the FBI, in 2023, American seniors lost over $3.1 billion to financial scams, nearly double the amount from 2020. In Vietnam, many elderly people lost everything due to multi-level investment schemes or transferring money to strangers pretending to be government officials. Their trusting nature, lack of tech knowledge, and sometimes the desire to feel cared for make them easy targets. Additionally, many seniors do not update their financial plans. They don't review monthly expenses, fail to restructure their assets to suit their age, such as shifting from risky investments to more stable ones, and lack specific medical contingency funds, all of which are serious vulnerabilities. Financial security doesn't require wealth, only awareness and a plan. Fortunately, you don't need to be a millionaire to have a stable old age. The most important thing is smart spending, sensible budgeting, and always having an emergency fund. According to financial experts, seniors should divide retirement income into 3 clear categories: daily expenses, health care, and emergency reserves. Reduce liabilities. Sell off assets that don't generate value or have high maintenance costs. Old cars, unused property, etc. Avoid co-signing loans, guaranteeing others, or transferring ownership without a clear purpose. Learn to recognize scams via phone or email, and never share personal information or send money without verification. In Singapore, the government runs the Financial Literacy for Seniors program, where older adults learn to manage expenses, prevent scams, and use digital banking tools safely. Surveys after 2 years showed that 87% of participants felt more confident managing their finances and significantly reduced dependence on their children. Financial management isn't just about saving money, it's about preserving dignity and freedom. Money can't buy everything, but financial independence in old age lets you live authentically, not feel like a burden, and support others when needed. Managing money wisely is a way to take responsibility for yourself today and for those who will care for you tomorrow. I think when I grow old, I won't spend emotionally. I'll live simply, spend wisely, and always have a reserve fund for unexpected times. I don't need to be rich. I just need enough not to borrow, not to depend on others, and to wake up each morning knowing I'm still in control of my life. Neglecting intellectual growth and life's meaning. Many people enter retirement with a brief joy. Finally, I get to rest. But the real concern isn't the end of work, it's the loss of purpose. When the mind has no destination, the soul begins to drift into emptiness. That's when boredom, depression, confusion, and cognitive decline start to seep into everyday life. Many early retirees have experienced a form of crisis known as the psychological emptiness syndrome, where no one needs you, no one waits for you, no one asks what you're doing today. When your body is still healthy, but your inner world is emotionally and mentally dry, old age becomes dull and lifeless. The case of Ms. Linda, From Emptiness to Inner Radiance. Ms. Linda, 70, was once a skilled accountant, used to a busy and well-planned life. After retiring, she felt like she had been unplugged. Days stretched endlessly with no goals, nothing to look forward to. But one day, she saw a flyer for an art class for seniors at the community center. She signed up, and from that moment, rediscovered joy in brushstrokes, colors, and connecting with others who shared her passion. She said, "I didn't just learn to paint, I learned to live again." Ms. Linda's story isn't unique. A study by the University of London found that seniors who engage in intellectual activities at least 3 times a week retain memory and reflexes 32% better than those who don't, and show significantly lower rates of Alzheimer's. The mind is the brain's muscle. Without exercise, it weakens. Just like the body needs movement, the brain needs regular stimulation. Reading books, learning a new skill, journaling, playing music, discussing topics, or even learning a foreign language, all are effective ways to keep the mind sharp. Even gardening, creative cooking, or writing memoirs help maintain flexibility in thought and emotion. In Norway, seniors are encouraged to join the Lifelong Learning Program, offering classes in history, technology, culture, and social psychology. Government research showed that after 6 months of regular participation, life satisfaction and mental health among seniors improved significantly. Self-development has no age limit, and it doesn't have to be learning for success. Many older people hesitate to learn, thinking, "What's the point now?" But learning isn't just for work. It's for staying connected to life, keeping the mind open and the heart alive. It could be an art class, a meditation course, learning social media to see grandkids' photos, or finally finishing a book you put down 10 years ago. In Japan, where life expectancy is among the highest in the world, they say, "The body ages, but the mind must stay young." Elderly men and women in their 80s still attend calligraphy classes, martial arts, or even programming workshops. That hunger for knowledge and curiosity helps build a community of seniors who live long, live well, and live meaningfully. Life's meaning, the one thing that lets us pass through old age with brilliance. A life with no dreams becomes barren, no matter how rich or poor you are. But when you still feel there's something worth waking up for each morning, then you're truly living, not just existing. Meaning doesn't need to be grand. Sometimes it's simply finishing a painting, growing a flower pot, or writing a note to a new friend. And when life has meaning, you stop fearing death because each day has already been lived fully. I think when I grow old, I won't let my mind sleep. I'll read the books I once missed, write down the memories I never put into words, and learn the things I didn't get to in my youth. Because I believe old age isn't the time to stop. It's the time to reach life's deepest layers. And wisdom is the lamp that will light my way with clarity and pride. The choices you make today will shape the quality of your life tomorrow. If you've neglected your health, restart with small daily habits. If you've isolated yourself, call an old friend. If you're afraid of change, try something new each week. If you're worried about money, take control of your spending. And if you feel lost, rediscover your purpose, even if it's just a simple joy. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to stay with us on this journey.